Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The For the Win Xbox podcast. It is amazing to have you with us after a brief hiatus. We're talking about Gamescom, Phil Spencer, new Xboxes that just dropped the other day, and a whole lot more on For the Win. All right, John, let's get into this week's comments. Wasting no time. The last episode together in person, burning to the ground. We got a few comments on it. So,
good.
I'm just going to blast through them. And if you're listening, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts on anything we discuss on the episode or just a random comment. Whatever. I don't care. Just leave a comment. The first comment was from Garrett Higgin Botham, but I can't even do his whole name. And his comment was first ? Yeah, he was first. So I'm going to give that a like. The second comment was from Chris Anderson, 370, and he said they should just make a good Halo game. ...
Ooh. Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. It's been a
Couldn't
while.
agree more.
It's been a long while.
Yep.
What if... What I don't understand is, 343, they've, now done 3 different Halo games, right? 4.
Yeah, they're 3 for 3, according to Marty O'Donnell.
They're 3 for 3. So if they took,
3 for 3.
If they had taken, the story and story beats. Okay, I don't know why balloons just popped up on my Logitech webcam again. I think I made a motion.
I think it's
with
like
my
your
fingers.
Logitech software. That's freaking hilarious.
So, 343, I feel like they have the pieces to make a great Halo game. If they took, the story and the story beats and the emotion of Halo 4, they took Halo 5's multiplayer and, Warzone, and then Halo Infinite's, art style and art direction. I think they have the pieces to, make a great Halo game.
Yeah.
They just got one thing right, in each game. I love how Infinite looks, especially in the campaign.
Right. Right.
The Chief just looks amazing. The Banished and the Covenant and all of that kind of stuff. The enemies look cool and all of that stuff. While unfinished, it still looked good, especially compared to their initial release video. They went and revamped everything. But I love the art style, especially compared to 5 and 4. 5 and 4 got a little too kind of clean and sci-fi. There wasn't any grit or earthiness to the art style. I just think of running around in 4 through I think it's Forerunner structures or whatever, and it's just everything's smooth and silver and perfectly clean and nothing's it's spotless, But
right.
What would have been cool is, because what I loved in Halo 2 was all of the stuff on Earth, and that grittiness of the city,
so cool.
Urban combat. Those were always my favorite levels. And then even in 3, they were able to work in some of that, at least going through human structures and things like that. But Infinite is just no humanity. It was all just on the ring. But
right.
Because even Halo 1, even though it completely took place on the ring, you're still going through some human environments on the Hammer of Dawn and things like that. Is it Hammer of Dawn? Or am I mixing up 2 different things?
You mean the not the Hammer of Dawn? That's Gears of War.
Gears of War.
No, Pillar of Autumn. That's
Pillar of Autumn.
Same type of Hammer of Dawn, Pillar of Autumn. That's all.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was like so cool, and it like grounds the story in this like relatable reality when like you go to Earth, you know, and there's cars and different things. You're like, it's like, oh, this exists in my reality. You know what I mean? There's just this connecting point as humans. My perfect 3-4-3 game is some of the story elements of Halo 4, the smooth, buttery coding of Halo 5, and the art style of Halo Infinite. I liked Halo 5 because it felt foundationally solid in the code, whereas Infinite, it feels like you could like fall through the map at any point. It just feels frail, and I know nothing about code, but I've talked about this many times before. It feels buggy. Like you drive the Warthog around, and it's like it's on like trampolines. It's just weird. Like everything feels off. Right. Whereas Halo 5, even though I don't like it's my like least favorite multiplayer style, the code felt just strong, and like when you shot shots, they hit, and when you ran, you weren't. It just felt like a completely strong coded game. So yeah, I would like the strength of code from Halo 5 and the art style of Infinite, and that'd be my perfect Halo 3-4-3 game if I had to choose. None of the music from any of them though. Hard pass. Next comment, Bjorn. Again, he said, I agree that Halo should possibly be retired and honored for what it was. It's 343 destroyed it. Great video as usual. Congrats regarding the YouTube channel job. Hope it becomes permanent. What's your guys' opinion of Division 2? Now, FYI, I am going to be going full-time here next month with the YouTube thing, with the YouTube job, so that's really cool. What's your guys' opinion of Division 2? John, do you have an opinion of Division 2?
The Ubisoft game, the Division 2?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what he's mentioning. I've never played it. I've heard good things about it, especially when compared to the Division. But I think it's like kind of had like a resurgence as of late. People have like started really getting back into it. It always felt a little weird because I think I played the first Division maybe like a little bit, or at least some of the demo or something like that. But it always felt like a little weird because it is kind of like a looter shooter. And like you're shooting like real guns. And so like, when I shoot like a dude in a neighborhood with like a real gun, I expect them to like fall after a couple shots. But because it's like a looter and you're like getting better weapons and gear and things like that, like a lot of the enemies take, a handful of shots to like bring down, and it's felt like a little just kind of off and not really my type of game when playing it. At least that's my experience, what I remember, because it's just like, yeah, I'm shooting this guy with like an assault rifle and he's just taking bullets as I'm seeing like damage numbers pop above him, So yeah, that's kind of that was kind of my experience with it. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, nice. I never played it, never got into it, never jumped out at me as a game that I like wanted to play, but I've heard okay things. I haven't heard like great things, but enough updates, any game can come back around. Yeah. Padlock gave a fire emoji. Shout outs, thanks for your support.
Thanks,
Lynn
Padlock.
Graciano. Why is Bjorn your favorite commenter and not me? And I do listen. I just might not always watch. LOL.
Oh.
John, is Bjorn your favorite commenter?
I mean, yeah. He makes the best comments, asks the best questions.
That's true. True.
I think
True.
Lynn needs to come up with a really great question to like spark some conversation, and then maybe you can get up there a little bit. But
spark the conversation. Okay, well,
we might have to do a Sea of Thieves episode and have him show us the ropes while we talk Xbox.
Man. Yeah, we can set that up. We can set that up for sure. Once I'm back in Washington, get a studio set up. Oh, also, this is another question. Well, we can talk about it for the Win Corner. We'll save it for the Win Corner, but don't let me forget. I want to ask about, setting up a, studio in Washington and potentially doing podcast stuff there. But let's talk Xbox. Just a couple things to talk about, kick around today for people who are, Xbox players, users interested in Xbox things. We are an Xbox podcast. So a couple things.
We are the greatest, most influential by far. Phil Spencer was at Gamescom, and he shared a bit about Xbox, a bit about games coming to other platforms. So I want to talk about that. Yep.
The new Xbox consoles dropped, the digital versions with upgraded upgraded storage, whatever. And and I wanted to just kind of touch on the idea of Xbox exclusives, because I think it's worth talking about, and I see a lot of people. Well, I say a lot of people loosely. People online like upset.
A vocal amount
about it.
Vocal people.
Vocal people. I don't know if it's majority, minority. I have no clue, but people are vocal about games going to PS5 and the quote-unquote rivalry, if you can call it that, that's that continues to rage on. So, for those who don't know, John, can you give us, let's power level you first of all. Let's get you to a level, and you just say when you want to hit the dungeon to go to World Tier 3. Just tell me when, and
power level there. Me. Where do we go first for power leveling? We're playing Season 5 now.
Yep, Season 5 Diablo. It's casual. The Helltide's going to come up in 2 minutes. So
the tide. Nothing but the tide.
In those 2 minutes, can you give us a recap of kind of any big things from Gamescom this year, and specifically what Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, comments he made that kind of sent some people reeling?
So let's go all the way back to November 15th, 2001 for some context.
Ooh, yes.
The day the original Xbox releases, it had a number of console exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
It launched with exclusive games. One of them being Halo Combat Evolved, which went on to be the most influential console shooter of all time.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we have the console shooters that we do today, the FPSs that we do have today on console, is because of Halo. The reason people bought Xboxes in 2001 was to play Halo. That was the system seller. That was the killer app. That's what people were hyped on. That's what led to one of the greatest sequels of all time, which Halo 2, exclusive to Xbox, changed online console gaming forever. So we have these two very, very important exclusives that came out on the original Xbox, and people bought Xboxes because of them. people bought Xbox 360s because of Halo 3 and Gears of War and Elder Scrolls Oblivion back in the day. So if we fast forward now to 2024, there's a lot of discourse online about Xbox not having the exclusives anymore, or the exclusive now coming to other platforms. So it's kind of become the norm that a lot of big releases come out on PC day one. And it seems like Xbox or console players don't really care that something is launching on PC, because it's kind of like another thing. Like, I don't see really like PS5 owners competing with PC players and like arguing over things, or like Xbox, players arguing with PC players online over things, in the same way that Xbox and PS5 players argue. You know what I mean? Because there is like, obviously, PC has way more games, way more exclusive games, way more powerful hardware, like all of these different things. So like, there's a reason there's the nickname, the PC master race. Consoles, at least for me, the selling point has always been like ease of use and convenience and plug and play. They don't require a lot of setup or tuning or things. You can download any game and it'll just, it's expected to just work. You don't have to change any settings on your rig or anything like that. Totally. So that's kind of, it's always leaned more towards, I would say, casual and mainstream gaming than like PC does. Now, PC gaming obviously has gotten like way more mainstream now, especially as like components and things have gotten cheaper to like build custom gaming PCs and all that kind of stuff. But basically the drama all kind of started back in March when Phil Spencer at the Xbox Game Showcase, and he was asked if games were going to be coming to other platforms, and he said that they had picked out 4 games that were going to be coming to PlayStation and Switch in the near future. And some of those games, I don't remember the 4 off the top of my head. It was like, I want to say it was like Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, maybe.
They were ones that had really run their course on the Xbox ecosystem.
So at the time, they hadn't announced them, and they were just like, and he was asked, what games are you bringing to other consoles? And he's like, well, I can't say, but they're not going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones. And people were like, okay. And so fast forward to Gamescom, and it's announced that Indiana Jones is now going to be coming to PS5. And everyone is like replaying that clip of Spencer saying it's not going to be Indiana Jones or Starfield. And like, I think context is important. And so like, if you look at the context of what he's saying, he was talking about 4 specific games that were launching on PS5 and Switch in the very near future. Right. So it's like obvious it wasn't like never that these other games, and like I'm not even like trying to like cope or anything, like, because my true position on whether or not Indiana Jones and Starfield go to another console is like I don't really care. So I'm just like, I just been seeing that clip go around, and it's like, well, that's not just for like the sake of being honest about what was actually said. Like, that's not what was said, So that's the only reason I bring that up, because like my stance on it is, I had always kind of figured from the beginning, when Microsoft was buying like Activision and Blizzard, and even when they first bought Bethesda and stuff, I always thought like it'd be amazing if they just all of a sudden made games like Elder Scrolls and, you know, Doom and stuff like that, Xbox exclusives. But I was like, I don't think that was ever going to happen, because they can make way more money off of selling games than selling Xboxes. Like, Xboxes has always been like a notorious, you know, selling consoles at a loss kind of thing. Like, that's just how it's always been. So, like, I never fully expected just like every single game released by Bethesda to now be an Xbox exclusive. I did expect the timed exclusives, like PlayStation had with all of the Call of Duties and you know, all their kind of third-party games with like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. You know, that was what I thought might happen, and so I think that's what we're seeing play out. Is, you know, Indiana Jones might not be an exclusive, but it's like a timed exclusive, similar to like a million other games that got released on PlayStation over the years that took their time coming to Xbox. So that's kind of like the big drama. And, you know, Phil Spencer addressed it today in an interview, and, you know, he was like, there's more people playing Xbox now than ever before. We've seen the games that we've brought to other platforms sell really well. I think Sea of Thieves was like in the top in the top like sellers of PlayStation for weeks and weeks, you know. So all that kind of stuff, and so he's just like, you know, we're a business, and like we gotta make money. So this is a really good money maker, and so like I don't see it going away anytime soon. So I really don't think, you know, in the grand scheme of things, and like in this life, that we need to be so concerned about stuff coming to another platform or console, you know. I feel like we have a lot of other things to kind of worry about. But I know people just do want to see, like, you know, fans of the console want to see it succeed and be successful, and you know, they want to see the thing that they invested in be worth it and pay off, and, you know, all of that.
Yeah. I guess in my mind, I agree with everything you said. And one of the things that stood out to me when what Phil said was, he was like, Microsoft has really high expectations of Xbox because, like, specifically relating to sales. He said because of how much support we get from Microsoft. And I thought that was really interesting, because, you know, it sounds to me, what he's saying is, look, we have to hit big numbers with Xbox and sales and numbers. We got to make a lot of money, because that's what Microsoft expects from us, because of how much they support us.
Right.
And I was like, dang, it sounds like he has like kind of some mad pressure on him from Xbox to like make a crap ton of money. Which I just thought that was interesting. I don't really feel one way or another about it. But the thing with it, and maybe I've changed as I've gotten older, to me, it's hard for me to wrap my head around people, specifically like, let's say, Xbox fans. Mind you, you know, we've been playing since the original Xbox, so, you know, we're big fans of the console. I guess what I don't get is the attitude where people are like, you know, this guy tweeted at Phil Spencer, you know, quoting with a video clip of what he said in the past, and like, hey, Xbox P3. What's going on over there, Chief? Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? What's up? Like, you said this before. And what's funny is Major Nelson actually clapped back at his tweet.
Major
The
Nelson.
random guy, and Larry Herb, and he was like, he's running a business.
That's a name I haven't heard, and
but I guess what I don't get is this attitude of like, so it's somehow me as an Xbox fan lose out because a game that came to Xbox first is now going to PlayStation.
yeah.
And it's this idea, it's like, I don't know, it's not to get like too deep or philosophical, but it feels like there's a section of Xbox fans who look at Xbox and the game releases and everything as it with like this lack mindset where they're just like, it's a pie and there's only so many pieces, and if some PlayStation 5 people, some PC people get some pieces of it, that means we lose out and we miss out on some pieces of the pie. But I don't see it like that. I see the Xbox and kind of what they're trying to do, I see it more like a river that just like keeps going. And we're kind of like at the head of the stream, the top of the river, and we kind of get the first grab at like everything that's coming down the river. And it just keeps flowing down, and it eventually gets to Xbox, it eventually gets to the PlayStation 5, and it eventually gets to PC, and these different things. But like, it keeps going. Like there's a source. I don't lose out because someone else down the river also gets to play a game. It doesn't make sense to me. So now, if it was reversed and Phil was like, yep, we're giving, this is a game from Xbox Studios, whatever, and we're giving it to PlayStation 5 first, and Xbox users are going to have to wait a year, then yeah, I would feel like, well, how are you not serving your faithful, customers who buy your consoles and do the things? But to my knowledge, I don't think they do that. The very worst it gets is everyone gets it at the same time. But the best is we get an exclusive, or, we get it first and they get it a year, 2, 3 years later. And I don't know, that doesn't bother me. Like, there's maybe 1% of me, maybe 10% of me that's like, kind of that Xbox purist, and I want to stick it to Sony fanboys and just make all the best games Xbox exclusive. But I understand, like, it's a business, and Microsoft wants to make money hand over fist forever, as much as possible. Like, that's all they care about, and I get that. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be an apologist for Microsoft and be like they have all the purest intentions and yada yada. Like, no, they're trying to make as much money as humanly possible, and corporate greed, whatever. But it just doesn't bother me that PlayStation gets our leftovers. I don't know.
Oops, I died. That's what I get for trying to get a chest.
What level are you at? You at 50 yet?
I'm at 19.
Okay. We can get you to 30 and then hit the dungeon. So I don't know, does that make sense? Like, why are people so upset? Like, actually, I should say Xbox fans. Like, why are any Xbox fans actually, like, upset? I don't...
Yeah, it's hard to... it's hard to say, too, like, who's just, like, trolling online and, like, how people actually feel. Because, the reality is the people that are online being vocal about this are, like, in the extreme minority of Xbox gamers. Like, they're probably less than 5%, maybe even more, of, like, the Xbox, like, fans, if you will. So the majority of
definitely.
people, who see Indiana Jones is coming out, they see that it's coming out to Xbox. Cool. They see that it's coming to PlayStation 5. Cool. Like, doesn't matter, as long as it comes to like the console that they own. Like, yeah, that's great. It comes out this day. Cool.
The Amazon Fire Stick they have.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think I think that's why, again, the longer we do this Xbox podcast and talk about video games, I'm always reminded of the perspective, because I have friends who are the most casual of gamers who are like, none of it matters. Like, none of this matters at all for anything. Like, none of it. No one cares. No one knows. There's probably, how many Xbox, what did we say? What was the number of Xbox users right now? Millions upon millions of Xbox users, and
like tens
there's
of
probably
millions.
like tens of millions. There's probably like 3,000 people who are actually annoyed or upset about that. You know what I mean? Like, let's be very real. Like, this isn't like a big. It's not like even the Assassin's Creed drama, right? Like, that was a little bit more, but even still, that's a very small group of people, and like there's levels to it, and I think this is like the sperm of the sperm of the sperm of the sperm whale, just like the smallest, like, minute group. But it is interesting to talk about. So that's why we talk about it. I'd be curious to hear what, like, people who listen to the podcast, what they like. Do you care? And would PlayStation people care?
Right. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. So far, I've heard good things from Gamescom about Indiana Jones, but the people that said Indiana Jones was good have also said that Star Wars Outlaws looks amazing and is really good.
So bad, right?
So, like, who
what
knows?
did you, when you watched that? You watched it, right? Some of the gameplay footage.
Yeah.
What did you think when you watched it? Because I watched it, and I watched about like a minute, 2 minutes. I'm like, this looks awful. Turn it off. I was like, change it. I don't want to see the crap anymore.
Yeah.
It looks so bad. What like stood out to you? Because I'm curious, like, if there was anything that you thought was like,
yeah, the movement, the the shooting, what was it? There's no, I think I read that there's like no melee weapons. Like, there's no lightsabers in the game. So I watched like this small female main character come up behind like a stormtrooper,
right?
And just like bop him on the back of his head with his helmet. Like, he's wearing a helmet, and she just hits him on the back of the head with her hand and knocks him out and like lays him down.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like it just didn't look good, like, at all. And so, and then like the movement, especially, it seemed very awkward and janky. And like the stormtroopers were just like missing their targets constantly, and like it didn't look like it was going to be any challenge like whatsoever. It was just kind of like very low stakes. I don't know.
Yeah, I did see the one clip of the main character, that girl, going across a like a zip line, and she's like, I can't think of the word, but she's just crossing this zip line over this like little canyon, and off in the distance, stormtroopers are shooting at her.
Mm-hmm.
But someone pointed out that the stormtroopers can't actually hit her. It's all just for show. So you can just stand there on the zip line, and you'll never get shot. But the thing that stood out to me, I think you referenced the clip, and someone pointed out that when she goes and sneaks up on the stormtrooper, she approaches him, and you basically start the like takedown animation.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing the stormtrooper does is drop their gun. And someone pointed out, that's the first thing I would do if someone came up behind me and tried to grab me, is just drop my gun and let them take me. And it's just like, that's right. Like, it's just, it looks so bad. And on that note too, a little clip from the new Assassin's Creed is going around, and that game just cannot win because it just showed the very, very classic jumping from a roof. If you've ever played an Assassin's Creed game, jumping from a roof into a hay bale, right?
Mm-hmm.
The leap of faith. They have mastered this animation countless times in these games.
Yeah.
And yet here we are, a samurai who, correct me if I'm wrong, is supposed to be like, a very disciplined, when I think of like ninjas and samurais, I think of like people like, agile and, sneaking around in the dark and, jumping from rooftop to rooftop and whatever. Well, this clip in this new Assassin's Creed game shows this samurai jumping into a hay bale and like rolling around like a high school football player, just like falling and then rolling out of it and like standing up really quick. And it's the most like non-graceful, not cool, awkward looking thing ever.
Yeah.
And people are like, what is this? This looks terrible. And so again, these quadruple A titles, I'm just like, who is signing off on these things? Like, seriously.
So I will say, that particular, leap of faith version or whatever with the, a guy in a full like suit of armor. I don't hate the idea of it. Like it's kind of like funny and like, like you're used to like the graceful swan dive of like an assassin. But the reality is like you're playing a different character this time around. Like this isn't a sneaky assassin. He's, he's going to have like a different gameplay style.
True.
And so to have this this character just like do this like butt bomb into a haystack and have it hurt him or be uncomfortable like is kind of funny and different. But the actual like animation for it itself is like so awkward and weird looking, and like the hay all like instantly vanishes like in a single frame, and it's just like it definitely needs a little bit of work to make it a little
polished,
a little more polished. But yeah,
it just cracks me up that that's what they choose to let out. And isn't there anything else that's like way cooler and more polished and looking great? They like put something out that like they gotta know people are gonna be like, oh, that they're gonna cook it,
Yeah.
So just
like, what will people think of this?
Right. There was also they dropped all the official news. We've been talking about it a long time, but nothing like super official. The official news of the new console lineup. And I'm curious your thoughts. So for those of you who don't know, there's a new console lineup. 3 new Xbox consoles are hitting the market. You can pre-order them now. And I think they launch on October 15th, and this is what they are, so brace yourself. The Xbox Series S, 1 terabyte, okay, coming in at $349.99. The Xbox Series X, 1 terabyte digital edition, $449.99. 1 terabyte of storage. And then the Xbox Series X, 2 terabyte Galaxy Black Special Edition. So this one has the disc drive, and it's cool, man. It's got the the Galaxy stars and stuff on it. It kind of closely reminds me of my Halo edition that I have. Not exactly the same, but it looks cool. It's got like that Xbox green base, which I'm a big fan. But that comes in at $599. Comes with a controller as well. They all come with a controller, obviously. What do you make of this? Any thoughts, impressions? Does it make you want to go out and potentially get an Xbox for your living room or something like that? What are your thoughts on initially?
I mean, for me, it's like really underwhelming. Like I like the aesthetic of the new Series X. That's cool, and I wish there was more, like special edition consoles and things like that.
They're always for giveaways. Can I tell you really quick? The amount of insanely cool Xboxes that have been released in the last couple years, just like it grinds my gears that they only release them as online Twitter giveaways and stuff. It's never you can buy it, and they're so cool. The X-Men one with they released 10 different X-Men controllers, all based on the different X-Men, based on the comic book art, man. The comic book art. It is so sick. It is the coolest Xbox ever. And it's the only way you can get it is entering a contest. It's just oh, dude. I feel like it's a missed opportunity. Anyways, continue on with your what are you going to say?
So,
underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed, especially for the price. All you're getting, there's no actual improvements to the hardware. It's just a bit more storage, and even the storage upgrade isn't much. With how big games are and stuff.
Exactly.
A terabyte is 10 games. And you're especially with Game Pass, you're installing everything now. No. Okay.
We're doing the boss right now, by the way.
I know.
If you want to come get
distracted
in on the
by a treasure goblin. So to me, I'm dude, this would have been a perfect time for a price drop. The Series S, Series S launch price, I think it launched for $299. Drop the Series S to $250. And upgrade the storage. If they were able to upgrade the storage and drop the price, that would be insane. This console, especially for people that don't have 4K TVs or monitors, the Series S is ridiculously good value. And if it had more storage, I have the expansion card for mine, so I don't notice the storage that much. But if I had it stock, dude, you run out of space instantly.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I think
the Series S.
I looked at them.
The Series S only had I think it's 500 gigs or something like that.
Yeah,
3 to 4 games, depending on what you're playing,
nothing.
you know, that you can have installed at a time. So,
yeah. I agree. I think I looked at it and I was just like, I want a handheld.
yeah, and I think people, you know, were hoping for and expecting some kind of Xbox Pro, and it's just like not even close to like being a pro anything. It's just the same.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And I think Sarah Bond, you know, you got to answer for that. Cuz to me, I think that when I look at this, I'm looking at a picture of all three of them right now and the prices. All this is playing it safe. That's all this is. Playing it safe in time for holiday season. But I'm like take a risk, you know, like
yeah.
I know that consoles are a loss leader, but like you said, drop the original Series S, $50, okay? And then come out with like 3 different colorways. Come out with a black version. Come out with a OG Xbox colorway where it has, you know, black and the original Xbox green for the you know, for the vent circle.
Colorways.
You know, come out with like a freaking like a neon green one.
Because then I would get like one for a living room, one for an office, you know.
Like, if they just had a couple colorways, I would be, you know, come out with just a red one. Why not? You know, or, you know, even better, we talked about this a few episodes back. You know,
Dude,
what if they put
Xbox
Series S?
Yeah, the sickest colorway they could do with the Series S is black, and then the circle vent that they already have there, make that an Xbox logo.
Totally.
That would just be like...
And
amazing.
Guess what? You would have so many like collectors. Every collector is going to buy one.
Yeah.
But then people like me who are like, you know, if it's running at like $250 or so, or you know, $300, I'll be like, oh man, you know, like that puts me in an awkward position, and that's what they need to do. They need to put Xbox fans in an awkward position to where we're like, man, I really don't want to spend the money, but this really is a good, it's really cool, good value. You know, it would be kind of nice to have an Xbox in the other room, you know, figure out a way to justify it. So like this, I look at it, I'm like, they're just playing it safe, man. And, you know, a few different colorways or collaborations would have been so... Dude, like, I probably would have bought one, you know? Like, I just, I don't know. And then all the people who are on the fence are like, oh, well, this is actually sick. But what I was going to say is the other option they could do, which we talked about a few months back, is like, what if with this, alongside these releases, they said, and I know it's not as simple as this. I understand production to an extent to where it's like, look, like getting stuff set up for production and all this, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of money. But how cool would it have been if they said, hey, alongside, you know, Sarah Bond comes out alongside our 3 new console releases, we are also now allowing for customization of the original Xbox Series S on Design Lab on the Xbox website. Yeah. And then it's like, boom, you pick your case, you pick your, you know, you pick your LED color. Yeah, right. I don't know if they could do that, but you know, you pick your whatever, and you just, you know, can customize it a little bit, you know, put stripes or whatever. They just have a few defaults that you can use, and that's all there is to it. Like, even something like that tells me, okay, we're not playing it safe. We're trying to be creative. We're trying to give fans something. We're trying to reach people. So, I don't know, man. I feel about the same way. I got so many ideas to make Xbox great again. It's just like it gets my creative juices flowing. Or
Yeah.
even with Halo just being abysmal, like it's still one of the strongest gaming IPs in the world. Do it, freaking Halo collab,
Yeah.
like whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how they sell. I really don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it sells. I mean, yeah, I wish they would have just done a little bit more. Even it's like if they're not upgrading the specs outside of like storage, then like a price drop,
Right.
So yeah,
You have any hearts?
there's no reason for me to, shell out for either one of them at this point, but
I'll meet you at Kmart.
okay. Like I want to get a Series X eventually, but I'm also like not consistently playing on like a 4K setup,
Right.
So it's just kind of like,
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, so anyways, not the best, but yeah, I don't know. It's just as a consumer, I just want them to take risks,
Dude, I can't even get out of the hell tide right now. There's just too many guys.
Shoot. Okay, hold on. I'll
I'm
come
trying
back
to
for
teleport. All right, I got out.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean the series consoles came out in what, 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Does that sound right?
Sounds right, but is it right?
2024 now, so it's been 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it still doesn't feel like the generation has like taken off or like really launched. There's so much blurriness between Xbox One and Series with, backwards compatibility and stuff being quote Series X enhanced, Series enhanced. So it's like what even truly is like a next gen game? Like that kind of question has been asked like the entire generation. Like nobody's quite sure. I think there's been like a couple, like Starfield, I don't think released on Xbox One, Hellblade 2, stuff like that. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't release on Xbox One. So there's definitely stuff, but I don't think they were like ever advertised as such, like not available on PS4 or Xbox One,
Right.
All right, let me.
Well, I just realized that my OBS had I'm still recording, so I'm okay. But I just realized my OBS had like a warning on it that's saying encoding overloaded because I think Chrome with like 3 tabs open was taking too much thing. So my video may or may not be like kind of choppy. I hope the audio doesn't get bad at any points, but we may be on my gameplay in the edit. We'll see how it turns out in the edit. But it didn't stop recording or anything, but I did notice it got kind of choppy, and I don't know if it's been that way the whole time. Anyways, let's go to the capstone and do For the Win corner at the capstone.
Okay.
Get you to World Tier 3. You're close enough.
Let me sell my yellows. Oops. Let me buy back that legendary I just sold.
Well, I guess I can start. It's pretty public and common knowledge now. Over the last 6 months or so, myself and Katie have been talking about what it could look like to move back to Washington, because there's a job that she really wants to work. And so, we've been talking about it for longer than 6 months, probably this past year. And it's always kind of been, something that's out there, and kind of an opportunity opened up in the last 3-ish months, and she got a chance to interview, because for people who don't know, I live in California, and Washington is where most of my family is, and so that's where I lived for most of my life. And anyways, she met with the people at this job, and there's this clinic she really wants to work at. Anyways, she got offered a job there, and so we kind of talked about it and decided that we're gonna move back to Washington, and she's gonna start working there. And my job's fully remote, so I can travel around and do whatever I want to do. And so it's a big move for us. It's a easy move for her, tough move for me. But it's it'll be good to have her working on her dream job and doing
happy wife,
loves.
happy life.
Man, look, people laugh at that, and some people scoff at it. But the reality is when your wife is unhappy, your life is miserable. So
the only people that scoff at that are actual wives.
Yes.
They're like, no way. That's such
but
a
I can
dumb
tell
saying.
you, firsthand experience, when my wife is happy, my life is great. When she is not, my life is terrible. I'll just put it that way. So, so anyways, we'll be heading back up north. We're just kind of getting our effects in order, and gonna head back up north, in the next couple months here, and do what we need to do. The one thing I am excited for, and this was what I wanted to ask you about, John, as we
you were alluding to earlier,
is I want to build a podcast studio in our garage, like a nice, good, like a proper set. And so, but I know, you have a young family, we got bedtimes. True. And so what I was thinking is because I'd love to do it in person. I think in person is always better. Yeah. So I was like, well, if I build the set, we might change the recording day and just try and do when we can, after work or, whatever time works best for you. To come over to the house, and then we record it in person. I think that would be super sweet. And even though remote might be kind of easier as far as not having to leave, the girls or whatever, I do think if we have a cool set and good lighting and everything set up there where you can just show up and then we just play games and chat for an hour, we can do that anytime, So it could be a Saturday morning, you know what I mean? Whatever works. So I am pretty amped about that. That's the one kind of silver lining. I'm bummed about a lot of things about moving for sure. Yeah. But the silver lining is
In person for the win.
Yeah, and I want to build a good content space. So, anyways, how do you feel about that?
I love it. I'm slowly walking to keep up with you in this dungeon.
I'm pulling a John the Baptist. I'm preparing
This
the
druid
way.
is so slow.
Well, yeah, it's like 500 pounds, man.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for in person too. I think it's just so much easier to have a conversation and feed off each other, and there's no delay, no awkward interrupting, because you can just look at the other person and talk. So I really like the idea of that. I'm curious, excited to see how we can, use this format or maybe a different format, and what that's going to look like when it comes to playing games and talking Xbox. And I think that'll be really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. And a little spoiler, doing in person, the big thing that I've thought about is I'm designing a set right now, and not just look and feel is going to be really cool, but also it means I'm going to be able to set up 2 monitors. I can set up 2 Xbox 360s, 2 original Xboxes. We can play games together on older consoles because we'll be there. We can LAN Gears 1 together. We can, it opens us door to do a lot of things and play a lot of different games as well together.
Are you going back in?
No, we're done.
Oh, I just saw it. Are you coming back over here?
Yeah, no, I haven't even gotten out yet.
Oh, I teleported out.
I was late. So that to me, I'm designing a set in such a way that we're gonna be able to swap out original Xboxes and have this for the win format and capture everything, all of it. Then swap out 360s, play whatever we want, capture just like this, same format. Swap out whatever. And so I'm very that excites me, and I think we'll be able to do some cool stuff. We could do a for the win and have a 2v2 LAN on Halo C, with original Xboxes, and talk with a couple of our friends, get Henry on, get people on in person. So there's so much potential in having that set. So I'm designing that right now and trying to budget things, and I think it's going to be freaking epic. And if my next couple YouTube videos hit, we'll be able to fund the whole thing, and it'll be great.
Love it. Good times ahead.
Good times.
Lots of good
Anything
times ahead.
On your side of the street for the win corner? Chop down more trees.
Chop down more trees. No, I think mainly I guess kind of what I'm looking forward to is it's the Starfield expansion, Shattered Space. Because I literally haven't played Starfield, but the trailer for Shattered Space looks really cool, and it looks like it actually has some personality and character to it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. So I might have to play Starfield to get access to that. I just think there's a lot of games coming out soon that are going to be pretty fun to play. So I'm still trying to finish Zombies in Modern Warfare 3. That's been like pretty fun for me, kind of laid back, just killing tons and tons of stuff. So I'm almost done with Act 3.
Yeah, the big
Zombies.
boss. Isn't there a big boss at the end?
Yeah, big old boss that you gotta figure out how to beat. And then, yeah, I think I might have gotten farther than Henry in it by this point. But, and then I started playing because I've just kind of been a little nostalgic for, the 360 era of games, and they weren't just all caught up in like the issues of the day and things like that. So I started playing through Rockstar's Bully on 360 Scholarship Edition. And I'd only ever kind of started the game. I never really finished it, but I'm playing through it right now, and like, man, it's just like such a different time for video games, and like it's just like really funny. It's pretty simple game, but it's just like humorous and weird and just completely like ridiculous, but it's been really fun so far. So yeah, that's kind of my retro game of the week that I'm playing.
I love it.
So.
I love it. Well, I'm taking a surprise trip next week that I'm not going to reveal.
Yeah.
But I'm going to drop. I got some pretty good video ideas, so I'm going to drop. My goal is to actually go film the video and then edit on the plane trip back, and hopefully be able to drop it, quickly.
Nice.
And so, yeah, we'll have to figure out. I don't know what we'll do about next week's podcast because I won't be around. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, next weekend I will be spending all day Saturday at PAX West in Seattle.
Nice.
So
follow the For the Win Instagram account.
I will also try to have some content and exclusives. I've been getting a lot of emails from indie game studios wanting me to go and talk to them and interview them. And so far, the only one that I'm kind of interested in is the Behemoth. I got an email from them, and I thought that would be cool because I loved Castle Crashers back in the day, and Alien Hominid and some of their other stuff. And so I'm going to try and make something happen with that. So,
yeah, and the upside of me going to Washington, too, is we can go to any and all gaming things together, which will be
we can fun. Go and knock on the front door of 343 Studios. And say,
all right, let's end the pod before I say something crazy. All right, GG's, everyone. GG's.
GG's.